So we went over all the possible roots. We then used our calculator to find if any of those were actual roots, and now we're on complete solving. Okay, so I'm going to go back to this problem, 3x cubed plus x squared minus x plus 1, and we saw that the one actual root was -1. So we know x equals -1. Okay. Going about this, we wouldn't be able to use grouping. There's 4 terms, it's a cubic, so we can't use a quadratic formula. So what we're going to use is what we know of what that one solution is. That one solution, -1, is going to help us break this down. Think back to when we tried to factor things with division. Okay? If we divide, we are going to get a factor of that polynomial or of that expression up there. So I'm going to do some synthetic division. -1, and we have 3, 1, -1, and 1. I'm going to bring down my 3. -1 times 3 is -3. If you add, you get -2. 2, you add, you get 1. Add, you get 0. So we end up with the expression 3x squared minus 2x plus 1. So that is a factor of our original polynomial. And now what we can do with that, we can do the quadratic formula. Okay? I mean, you could try and factor it, and that's what will be the trick here. So once you break it down, what can you do with that equation? It's usually going to be a little smaller, so you might be able to figure out, do I set it equal and get x by itself, set it equal to 0 and try and factor using difference of squares. In this case, I'm setting it equal to 0, and I'm going to use the quadratic formula. It's a trinomial, has all 3 terms, so -2, I'm going to make sure I had everything plugged in correctly. -2 plus minus -2 squared minus 4 times 3 times 1 divided by 2 times 3. Simplifying this a little bit, 2 plus minus, then inside the radical you should get 4 minus 12 is -8 divided by 6. Okay, factor tree for -8 is going to be 2i square root of 2. So that's just simplifying that square root of -8 pretty quickly. We end up with 2 plus minus 2i square root of 2 divided by 6. I'm going to break up 2 small fractions. And simplifying that should give me 1/3 plus minus I square root of 2 over 3. And now let's look what we have. Okay? Let me just double check my answer. Okay, good. Our original equation, 3x cubed plus x squared plus minus x plus 1, the degree was 3. So we should get 3 solutions. Okay? And we have our 3 solutions. We got our -1 up here. And that 1/3 plus minus I square root of 2 over 3. Remember, that's 2 solutions. It's 1/3 plus I square root of 2 over 3. It's 1/3 minus I square root of 2 over 3. So we have all 3 solutions. 1, 2, 3. That's one thing you need to make sure you do. Check to make sure you have all the solutions that you need to find. We needed 3 solutions. We have 3 solutions. So we're good to go. Okay, so there's that example. We finally finished our one example we were looking at. Let's do one more. So here we have 3x cubed plus 3x squared minus 8x minus 4. Okay, if I list all the factors, okay, and really the first thing you should do, I kind of skipped over this step, is see if you can solve this in any way by yourself. You could try grouping. I'll tell you right now, grouping doesn't work. There's 4 terms, so we have to try and break it down. I kind of skipped that step. You should always look to see if there's a way to solve it first. Okay? So I'm listing my factors and my leading coefficient, my factors and my constant. And looking at this, I can see since my factors and leading coefficient are 1 and -1, I know this list here are all my possible roots. So now I'm going to go to my calculator and see if any of those are an actual root. Okay, so I am not going to cheat here. I did this already. The actual root is 2. Okay, so positive 2 is one of our actual roots. So now I can take that 2 and break this down a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to do my synthetic division again. To break it down, bring down my 1, and add, we get 5. 10, add, you get 2. Add, you get 0. X squared plus 5x plus 2. So again, we have a quadratic. It's trinomial. Unfortunately, again, we can't. It won't factor. So I'm going to use the quadratic formula again. Okay, but again, I'm using quadratic formula 2 times in a row. I can't guarantee that's going to happen. There's going to be all different situations once you break that down. Okay, so breaking that down like that, plugging in, and we should simplify. We should get 25 minus 8 gives me 17. Okay, I know there's no factor tree for 17, so I'm just going to rewrite it as 2 small fractions. And nothing can be simplified, so x equals 2. X equals negative 5 over 2 plus minus square root of 17 over 2. And right there's my 3 solutions. Okay, we started off with 3, a degree of 3, so we know we needed 3 solutions, and there they are. Okay, let's do one more. So here we have x to the 4th plus 4x cubed minus 9x squared minus 16x plus 20. Leading coefficient of 1 again. So, and again, I'm skipping that step. There's 5 terms in here. We can't solve 5 terms. We need to break this down somehow. Okay, so I'm going to list the possible solutions, the possible rational solutions, and use my calculator to find one so that I can break it down. We know 1 and negative 1 are the leading coefficient factors. Over here we're going to have 1, negative 1, 2, negative 2, 4, negative 4, 5, negative 5, 10, negative 10. Is that all of them there? That's all of our factors for 20 then. And again, we're going to go to the calculator and see which ones are the rational solutions. So again, I'm going to cheat a little bit. And I'm going to tell you, our rational solutions are 1, 2, negative 2, and negative 5. So 4 of them ended up being rational solutions for our equation this time. Okay, so you always need to make sure you check when you're on that calculator. Check every single solution that's in that list. In this case, there's 4 solutions. We only need to find 4 solutions. So that's it. Our answer, x equals 1, x equals 2, x equals negative 2, x equals negative 5. Okay, 4 solutions. We're looking for 4, so we're in. Now, I could probably do a couple more examples, and it probably still wouldn't get to every single situation you're going to have to deal with. I'm going to let you practice some on your own now. Once you break it down and once you do that synthetic division, look at that equation and decide, how can I solve this? Think back to chapter 5, think back to the earlier in this chapter, and think of all the methods we know of solving. Okay? Good.